What is up, Overwatch Odyssey? It is Zoran coming at you, Mike's side here for this matchup between XL2 C and Lootboxers. We are excited for this matchup, assuming we can have it, but nonetheless, once this matchup gets underway, I'm sure it will be filled with lots of thrills and great gameplay. Sitting in the booth with me tonight, we have got Ray once again on the mic. Ray, what is happening?
Hello, everybody. My name is Ray. Of course, you may know me as Bogus Bonus. I am the tank for Munchkins, previously known as Noble Guardians. I'm here to cast this match, and hopefully we can get a good one today.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this matchup between these two teams, especially because XL2C has been making some roster changes. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays into what they've been doing. They are currently winless, but making these roster additions and drops, looking to see if that can change the way their team is playing. But we are going to be starting a little bit delayed. I think I just combined delayed and late. Starting a little bit late here tonight, and for once, I will say that it's not the player's fault. It's not my fault. It's definitely not Ray's fault. But Blizzard having some issues with their servers, possibly, and a lot of players are getting DC'd and stuck in loading queues. So we will be hopefully coming at you live here soon, waiting for players to load in and go from there. But we are aware of the issues that we are having. I keep getting disconnected, so hopefully everything goes all right with the stream and everything. But we will be back at you in just a moment as we get things prepared for this match between XL2C and Lootboxers. Alrighty, everyone. Thank you for being so very patient. We are waiting on map picks and bans, and we will get things underway. I do believe we have a lobby with two full teams available and ready to play, so we'll be getting things underway in just a second.
I've been thinking about your love tonight. Two hearts gonna make our worlds collide, baby. I just wanna be the one to treat you right. Two-step in me, baby, slide, slide. I've been thinking about your love tonight. Two hearts gonna make our worlds collide, baby. I just wanna be the one to treat you right. Two-step in me, baby, slide, slide. I've been thinking about your love tonight. I just wanna be the one to treat you right. I've been thinking about your love tonight. Two hearts gonna make our worlds collide, baby. I just wanna be the one to treat you right. Two-step in me, baby, slide, slide. I've been thinking about your love tonight. Two hearts gonna make our worlds collide, baby. I just wanna be the one to treat you right. Two-step in me, baby, slide, slide. I've been thinking about your love tonight. Two hearts gonna make our worlds collide, baby. I just wanna be the one to treat you right. Two-step in me, baby, slide, slide. I've been thinking about your love tonight. I just wanna be the one to treat you right. I've been thinking about your love tonight. Two hearts gonna make our worlds collide, baby. I just wanna be the one to treat you right. Two-step in me, baby, slide, slide.
Alrighty, we are finally back. Oh, why? All right, we had another player join, but we're throwing them in the spectators for now. We have the ready confirmations from the teams, and we will be getting things underway at Samoa.
Samoa will be very interesting here to see the ball from Julian G, assuming that's what we will see. But Samoa's pretty good for Genji and Tracer in a lot of these maps, as well as Sojourn.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Julian does some pretty nasty stuff on ball, so you can't limit your expectations. But here on the side of XL2C, we also have a ball selected.
Yeah.
Seeing that Genji Soj on both lines, Gigglebash playing Moira is a bit of a shock. Excuse me, a bit of a shock to me. I was expecting to see maybe a Brig, but maybe that's not the ball comp orientation.
Brig is decent for the ball comp, as we see a very standard team comp from the Lootboxers, as the two balls butt heads right now on the right side. Just looking for a little bit of poke right now as Julian G is in, slams 4 with a nade coming through. PD Pipe's going very, very low. Eventually falls to Julian G. And this first fight will look like it'll go for the Lootboxers as Arrow is able to pick off Eagle Bash. And Ocelot clash heads with Boingson. Julian G just being a menace in the backline. Already 66 mines. There's the slam in the back. Hits 3. Ocelot there to follow. Arrow in the back. Kazi falls to Julian G, but Venatus able to take out guard and Ocelot. It is an even fight right now. On to point. Dream Sweet gonna take down Boingson. Eyes maybe a little too big for the mouth, as Lootboxers still stall out their point for 42%. Flam comes on to the Lootboxers backline, but nobody's really there to follow up. PD Pipes falls low, and with no supports, Venatus is forced to fall back.
Yeah, XL2 just having. I think they just need a very solid regroup here before they re-engage. At least to me, it seems a little scattered, and Pipe's now switching off the Soj, going to Junkrat.
Possibly going for the cheese pick, more or less, as the ball roll comes out. Ocelot falling very low. Boingson seemingly alone inside as here comes the mines. Arrow jumps straight into them. Julian G able to clear out most of them, but Venice takes both supports. Both Lootboxers supports, all ults on the side of Lootboxers as Ocelot pops his blade very, very low. Giggle Bash with the Coalescence, and this looks like it'll be a point flip at 99% for Lootboxers.
It's going to be a tough hold for XL2C. Lootboxers really just need an alt dump, and they have 4 of 5 alts to do that.
It'll definitely be difficult to break through these mines coming down on point here, and the beat coming down from Arrow. There's the overclock and nano boost as Boingson tries to pull out the blade, but is unfortunately caught off guard. Arrow doesn't even need to use that beat, it seems, as only 2 people live for XL2C. Ocelot taking down Giggle Bash, and it's just Venice on point, unable to do much, but a decent stall. Boingson and the Sombra able to get a second touch, but the anti-nade comes down, and dies very quick. Kazi with second touch, and unfortunately dies. This is the beat from Arrow, and yeah, XL2C is not really going to be able to do much to break through it. They just sort of need to wait for it to go down. Giggle Bash dying, and it's just Venatus on point, trying to get that touch, but that's round 1 for the side of Lootboxers.
Definitely a hard-fought fight for Lootboxers. At first, maybe seemed like they were coasting a little bit, but once XL2 was able to get in there and maybe take a defensive stance there a little bit, I think things became more of a reality. I think Venatus did a really nice job there on ball. So if the team can capitalize on that more and continue to push with Venatus, there's a lot of potential there. They just have to continue to do that and work together. I don't know. I think Junkrat is going to be hard to play into this.
We see the Brig swap probably to deal with a lot of the ball shenanigans going on. As Kazi and Arrow duke it out, Ocelot dashes in to try and focus on the kill, but Venatus is able to slam and take some focus away. Venatus gets Ocelot very low as he's used to deflect and dash back. Julian G with a slam onto XL2C's backline. And it's looking pretty good for XL2C. They have a really nice... I say that as...
Yeah.
I say that as Julian G and Ocelot are able to get a really nice focus dive onto that backline and deal a lot of damage.
Yeah, I mean, and that's exactly what I was talking about with XL2C. That coordination that Ocelot and Julian just had there, that is going to be what is going to set apart these two teams and running this ball comp together.
I'm not hating Venatus on ball. Just with the Stim Sojourn, it might not be the best idea. We will have to see, though, as they engage in the far left corner. Venatus with the grapple and slam. A teleport comes out, but Julian G is able to slam the backline again. Pretty big teleport onto point as PD Pipes drops very, very low. Kazi is able to pick off Dream Suite deep in the backline, and Julian G takes out PD Pipes. XL2C may have some point control, but they haven't capped it yet. There it is at 37% for the Lootboxers. That was not too bad for XL2C. There goes the mines from Venatus. Doesn't seem to catch anybody, but gets Ocelot quite low. It's just looking like a prolonged poke fight right now. Venatus with a slam and a nice follow-up shot from Boingson. There's the overclock as well from Boingson as
able to get another pick too.
Able to pick off Dream Suite, which is really nice on that wide flank angle. This is looking pretty good for XL2C. Lootboxers starting to group up and grab their bearings as Venatus still runs amok in the back line. There goes the mines and a slam. Kazi is unable to do much. There goes Nano onto the Julian G as Boingson's able to pick off guard. It's looking like a Lootboxers fight win, but if Venatus can contest this point, they could probably get to something pretty high. There's beat from Kazi as Venatus does not get it. That is the main target for that beat, and it just straight misses him. Almost the cap.
There it is. Great stall there from Venatus.
Yeah, and even that beat was able to get Kazi up high health and stall for even longer. There goes beat from the side of Lootboxers. Ocelot pops the blade, but Giggle Bash with the rally, unable to live, misses the bash and the whip shot. Guard with the overclock in the back, just protecting the Ana completely. Venatus gets hit by a sleep and a nasty anti, but falls back and sort of just gets the neutral here. Looking at 3 ults on the side of XL2C, and this isn't looking too bad for XL2C. Julian G with the mines onto the back line. Pipes is going to fall very low. Giggle Bash is going to be caught directly inside of them. As Julian G is running amok onto the DPS line, Ocelot takes off Kazi. There's really nobody there on point other than Kazi and Venetus. It's a good duo, but it's just not enough. Julian G takes out Bowingson and PD Pipes. He's just doing the work, putting XL2C through the work. It's just Venetus here to stall, and maybe Kazi when he gets back. There's overclock from Bowingson as Ocelot dash to try and match him. Not able to do much. Guard gets nanoed. Pipes with the wall. It's a lot coming from both sides, but Lootboxers seem to have come out on top as Kazi was the only one left alive. Pipes tried to touch, but it's just not enough. That's map 1 for Lootboxers.
Play of the game.
This ends now. I'm unstoppable. Got him. Cleaning house. Cybernetics regulating.
That was very nicely played by the Loot Boxers. I gotta say that second point definitely looked like it was in favor of XL2C, but Loot Boxers able to bring it back together and come away with it. Very nicely done by the Loot Boxers to come away with map 1. So now we will be moving on. I would assume everyone's intuition would have guessed this. Map 2, we are going to either hybrid or escort per the choice of XL2C, and we'll go from there. Ray, what are your thoughts? Just looking at that, I know you had said maybe the ball comp wasn't working for XL2C. Aside from that, was there anything that you had noticed or picked out that XL2C, if they kind of reduce a little bit more of, they can come away with this?
Definitely. I think Bowingson is playing really well as Venetus. I think they're both exceptional players. Kazi was doing some work on that Lucio. If Venetus, Bowingson, Kazi, they can go to the ball, Genji, Lucio sort of dive combo. PD Pipes can play something they're comfortable with and bunker down, helping Giggle Bash with the ball. I think it's very doable if they want to go for that ball comp. Bowingson was playing really well in the Sojourn. The slam plus rail combo is very powerful. You just don't want to give Julian G on ball as much room and grouped up people as possible if you're not playing the Ana.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Waiting to see. Still no pick has been made between hybrid and escort. Now knowing kind of what this new roster of XL2C is hoping to do, what would you say that the better choice would be for them?
Well, I will say I don't know much about these players. I know Giggle Bash is a Brig player on console. Just moved to. I think I'm thinking of the right person here, but a poke match, maybe escort for like the Havana or Gibraltar
Okay.
could work if Venetus is comfortable on the Sigma.
Okay.
But depending on what XL2C chooses here, escort or hybrid, we may see a ban onto something like Blizzard World, a ban onto something like Gibraltar, respectively, maybe even Eichenwald. Hybrid, in and of itself, I think only has 2 actually good maps, and that's Kings Row and Midtown. Thankfully, they're in the pool, but and both of those aren't really too friendly for ball. You could see a lot of stuff played on both maps, so really, it's still anyone's game.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely liked what I saw from XL2C, and given the breakdown, I'll say pending the versatility of this roster that XL2C is bringing, that'll determine, I guess, how this team plays and how well they do.
Hmm. Yeah, if I was XL2C, I think I'd bring them to escort. I think I'd try and go Havana, maybe.
There's that pick. They are going to be going to escort. That was the selection. So now loot boxers on top of it. They will be banning Havana.
Yeah, they probably assumed something like that would happen, so I just hope XL2C is comfortable on maybe Gibraltar. They can run that Sigma, or they could try and go for like a more defensive anti-ball comp with a Torb.
And there it is. Looks like we will be looking at Watch Point Gibraltar. I think you picked several of these. I think you were like 3 for 3, 2 for 3. You were calling
Something like
everything
that.
there. I'm like that. I want to say, as we are waiting for these teams to ready up, no one, whether a joke or not, looks like neither team wanted to play, or at least wanted to go through the misery, I'll say, of Scrims Row,
Yeah,
which is kind of sad, honestly. I do enjoy some Scrims Row here.
I do too. It's a good Ramatra map, which is what I enjoy playing. And the Rhine mirror is is definitely fun for for some people more than others, I suppose.
Alrighty. Looks like some roster swaps are going to be made.
Maybe.
Um, so still Venitus on tank. Boeing will be playing. Sorry, I keep stopping here because I'm not sure that this is going to be an eligible line that XL2C is wanting to run. So, pardon me for just a second, Ray, while I do some math.
No problem.
Alrighty, so it is an ineligible line, so XL2C is going to have to make some roster adjustments to get things underway.
Interesting. Alright. Alrighty. We are in the match. Teams are ready. With a few swaps on the side of XL2 C to try and make this defense work for them.
Yeah, it looks like Kazi, who is playing support on round 1, is now going to be playing DPS, and Zazo, who is coming in to fill for XL2, or not fill, but I think was supposed to be on the first line, caught in the horrible Q, is now ready and rearing to go.
We shall see how this goes.
Looking at ball comps on both sides, do we have ball one tricks on the tank side of both teams?
Quite possibly. We'll see how this works. Knowing that XL2C chose this maybe for something that is like decent with ball here, as a TP comes out. Both of the Lootboxer supports on high ground now. We're looking at Genji Tracer for the side of the Lootboxers. His guard falls very low. Venator tries to finalize the kill, but he's unable. It's a little juked. Zazo with a great nade down there, killing guard and getting Ocelot quite low. And Ocelot is going to try and push Julian G with a nice pile driver off of the high ground. Zazo falls dangerously low, knocked into Lootboxer territory, but there's just not enough to take him down. While this is all going on, Ocelot is pushing hard, getting that sweet distance. Julian G falls down as Venetus meets Ocelot in the lower. You know, this isn't looking too bad for either teams here. Lootboxer's got some good distance, so they can just force card if they need to.
I was thinking that exact same thing.
That's what we see. A great nade onto Giggle Bash as they're forced to back up. And it's looking like a scrappy fight here, as Guard is forcing payload with the help of Julian G. As the fight has sort of gravitated to the other side of the map. Ocelot getting caught by Venetus. Good slam from Julian G as the Mines is ready and will possibly come out. Guard with a nice kill onto Zazo. Guard taking out 2 as the Lootboxer core, the support core, is able to stay on height and drop on point almost to cap, but not enough as Venetus comes to peel. There goes the Mines from both sides here and a slam. Julian G falls very low, getting killed by Zazo. See, that Ana is crucial for XL2 C's victory here. Zazo with another great kill on the Ocelot. Guard matching him. Guard has been doing very, very well. Boingson able to take down Dream Suite. Both teams missing their Ana now. The Orb just sort of commanding this angle, daring the ball to attack. It's looking pretty dangerous for the Lootboxers as they have a minute 15 seconds left and they lost their Brig player. Here goes a pile driver on a high ground. Kazi falls low. Ocelot with the deflect. Burning gets very low. Full DPS. Boingson with a great shot. And less than a minute remains for Lootboxers to push this. 4 ults on both sides. It's not looking too bad for XL2 C. Venetus dealing a lot of damage to the back line here. There comes the Nano Blade onto Ocelot with a great sleep, shutting that down after he is able to take down Kazi. Boingson dropped Guard, but the Molten Core is able to take him out. Julian G falling dangerously low on the payload as another sleep comes down onto Ocelot. Very good, these sleeps. Bob comes out from the side of XL2C, and Arrow is just caught right in the middle of multiple players. Venetus picks off Ocelot, and it's ticking back into OT here. Lootboxers are 3 right now. There goes the Mines from Venetus, just, you know, stopping the area control as it's just Julian G to touch. Boingson and Zazo have done their part, have taken plenty down, and that's the ball dead. It's only Ocelot and maybe Arrow, but the bash, and it's just not enough. That is a great full hold on this Gibraltar.
That was very nicely done by XL2C, able to hold Lootboxers, not even getting the first checkpoint with the payload there. Watchpoint can certainly be a very demanding map, and XL2C not having a whole lot of distance to cover on their offensive push. What do you think the Lootboxers might try and come up with in order to shut the XL2C offensive push down?
Well, XL2C is not able to really play that Torb that they were playing. On the offense, at least, it'll have less of an effect. XL2C was doing pretty well. Yeah, so they chose to do a Torb of their own, it seems. Ocelot on Torb. Julian G obviously playing the ball. It's what he's good at, and it's a reliable pick in this scenario. We'll just sort of have to see what changes can be made here. During this defense, they're going to need to, Lootboxers are going to need to play a little bit close together, look for more sleeps onto Venetus, and maybe try and catch Zazo out. You've seen Guard do that before, getting a couple picks onto Zazo, which is useful and is exactly what they need. It starts in Julian G opts to try for a spawn hold, as he doesn't really get much out of it, falls pretty low. Julian G getting met by Venetus, falling pretty low into XL2C territory. As the payload moves on, we see Boingson on the Widowmaker, treading very carefully because of this fall. There comes a dive, and Zazo falls dangerously low. not enough to get him down. There's not a lot of focus here as Julian G falls super low.
Man.
Kazi able to take him out. That was tough and a bad loss for the Lootboxers. A nice sleep from Zazo onto guard as a focus comes out, and that's a great pick. Zazo has been hitting some amazing sleeps. Power driver comes out, Julian, and is able to sort of just burn down Kazi as both supports were playing on cart. Venice is doing the exact same thing onto the back line of Lootboxers, sort of just disrupting as much as possible. Julian G as well, able to take out Giggle Bash. Boingson with a nice shot onto guard. It's even right now, but Julian G is able to go in and get that pick onto Boingson, as Kazi also falls pretty low, so XL2 C has to back up. If I'm XL2 C, yeah, I would switch off that Widowmaker. You did get a good pick, but it just wasn't really enough, and the double sniper wasn't really doing much. Julian G taking a 1v1 with Kazi. Kazi able to get a lot of care from both Brig and Ana. And we see a Tracer duel going on onto point here. As guard comes out on top, it was very close. There's the mines from Boingson. Yeah, Lootboxer's backline can't really go anywhere as payload will be forced out. It's just with no Tracer, there's not really much to do. Mines come out from Julian G, and there is the pulse bomb. Guard is able to get the final blow on a Venetist, and it looks like a scrappy fight for coming out on the side of Lootboxers, it seems.
Yeah. I will say, though, there is a alt economy factor here. XL2C having 3, maybe coming up on a pulse bomb here soon.
There goes Bob, dropping on the bottom. Won't really do much because most of Lootboxers are on high ground. Nano onto Bob, sleep onto Julian. It's looking pretty good as Venice was able to find guard and able to take him down. Julian G falls very low. It's the only line of defense for the lower area. Boingson able to climb that high ground, and with the help of both Venetis and Kazi taking out 2, and Venetis with a kill onto Ocelot. This looks pretty cut and done here as a win for XL2C. That was, all things considered, a great match. A great performance by XL2C. Kazi on the Ashe, Venesis on the ball, and a stellar performance from the Ana as well. Zazo on the Ana.
Yeah, very
it's
nicely
looking pretty
played.
good for them.
Yeah, very nicely played there by XL2C. Had a very solid defensive hold and then able to come away with it. Still not a lot of time on the clock, but just enough to allow them to get the victory that they needed here, evening up the things 1-1. So now we will be going on to push. XL2C will have a map ban, and Lootboxers will be able to select the map from there. Again, I'm going to default back to you here, Ray. Now knowing what this line for XL2C is capable of, what adjustments do you think the Lootboxers will need to make?
I think the Lootboxers will have to put a lot of focus onto Zazo if they want to keep running the ball, which is a comfort pick for Julian G, definitely. I think Zazo was doing a lot of work on Ana, was making a lot of things done, or was playing very well. So
Definitely.
maybe a little bit of target focus. Bring back the Genji possibly for better dives. The Genji from, I think it was Ocelot, was doing really well, especially with Guard on Tracer. Like, Guard on Tracer was doing a lot during that map, and I think it's very doable for Lootboxers to maybe go to a sort of decent decent ball map. I think they want to go to Esperanca. If XL2 C was banning a map, I'd probably guess it was Queens. I think
Okay.
Queens is maybe more brawly. Um, the Coliseo ban, not bad. I do think Loot Boxers is going to bring him to Esperanca, or just a better ball, and maybe even we'll see that Farah Mercy come out as well.
Loot boxers do have a very strong pharmacy, so it'll be interesting to see if they whip that out. Now, typically, so I had seen, I believe, Ocelot and Dream Suite run it. Someone who I haven't seen play, and maybe just taking more of a manager or captain role tonight, Squid has been sitting on the sideline. So with Squid being off, that may be an Ocelot and Dream Suite role, but Kazi playing that Ashe was very lethal for the Loot Boxers, so that will be a tough ask for Ocelot and Dream Suite.
Definitely, the Loot Boxers are going to need something to match Kazi on Ashe, and they have the means, of course, if they run the pharmacy, and you sort of just have Arrow on Lucio, moving around with Julian, Guard on Tracer, doing what they do best, getting picks. It's definitely very doable. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I just say Asper, but
This whole time I muted myself to avoid clicks and stuff, so chat didn't hear it, and we're going to Esper as Ray had there, I'll say, deduced or
Yeah.
informed you. Looks like we have the ready from both teams, and we'll be getting things underway.
Welcome to Esperanza.
Alright, so things tied up here 1-1 between XL2 C and Loot Boxers. Both teams hoping to come away with this third map here at Esperanza. We will be seeing which team will come out on top. XL2 C with a very solid defensive hold against Loot Boxers at Watchpoint Gibraltar, hoping to continue with that dominance here on map 3. Getting that breakdown, Kazi playing a very good Ashe. Will be interesting to see if that comes out, because it could pose a threat to a very familiar and lethal comp that Loot Boxers would run, being that pharmacy. May not see that if we're seeing Kazi on Ashe, and we are, and as you called it, there's that Genji Soj for the side of Loot Boxers.
I like seeing the Genji Soj on this map, especially. I think the Sojourn is enough to deal with Kazi. I think Sojourn is especially lethal against the snipers that just stand still.
One. Objective
Definitely.
locks in 30 seconds.
Teams rolling out. Balls, I think, are gonna butt head to head
More ball
here.
As we see Boingson on the Symmetra. Going to be quite interesting to see how this plays out. As XL2C's supports are sort of just caught out. They realize this, and this is the really nice dive from Ocelot and Julian G. This is that nice dive. Venetus is able to peel very, very well. Able to pick off Ocelot. And there's a nice pick from Julian G onto Zazo. Not what you want to see when you run that Brig Ana. Ana is definitely the weak point, and it's difficult because you have to keep her up. Looks like a sleep and a great kill onto Boeingson as the Lootboxers take part control first here. There's the nade comes out from Lootboxers as Venetus is forced to peel back and try and defend from this dive. Zazo found his way deep in and is able to pick off Aura before dying himself. There's the nano onto Ocelot as it is the first ultimate that comes out. Lootboxers again are coming out on top, but it was very, very close this time.
Yeah. The
Forward
Lootboxers
spawn.
are excelling on this composition.
Yeah, with Esperanza, it's just a nice open map that you can just abuse the open sight line for that Sojourn, for the ball. You can go into any corner. We see Dream Suite with a nice nade and kill onto Venetus. Finally squishing a rat as Julian G goes down as well. This may be the end of the push for Lootboxers as it briefly falls into XL2 C's hand. Venetus is able to get back quicker because of the closer spawn, so it looks like the bot will push closer and closer to the Lootbox territory. Oof. Boeingson wanted to take that high ground, but was met with all 5 of Lootboxer the lineup here as Bob comes out from Kazi. Slept, but able to do a little bit of damage onto Ocelot. We're seeing a lot of ults from both sides here. There goes the blade from Ocelot, and there's the Brig ult to match it, but
Man.
Ocelot is able to just burn through it.
I'm going to be honest, I think Ocelot kind of broke Giggle's ankles there, jumping right over that bash and that stun, which would have been exactly what they needed.
Agreed. And because of that, Lootboxers are able to take back control of the bot and able to push up even higher. There goes the mines from XL2C as Venetus tries to barrel stuff Dream Suite. Able to do that, but Dream Suite pops the nano. Same with Zazo. Nano onto Eagle Bash on Brig. Looks like just a nano to try and fend off the Genji from killing both of the backline. It could have just been a panic nano, but yeah, only 1 ult invested from Lootboxers, and they are pushing further and further.
Man, and now Kazi playing the Sombra to shut down Julian.
We will see how that'll work out, but no picks on either side for this fight. It looks like the Lootboxers are sort of just going to stay back to try and group back up, heal up Julian maybe, and try and fight. They know they have that space that they can give since they have a great lead. There's the overclock from Guard, and a nice anti that Zazo is able to drop with a pile driver and follow up from the Guard. Kazi able to be in the backline and pick off Dream Suite. It is a fight win for Lootboxers as it seems, but Dream Suite's going to take a while to come back, and Lootboxers need to either push and disengage or just disengage right now and give them a little bit of space. Kazi on the Sombra doing a lot of work to the DPS lineup for Lootboxers as Venetus is able to roll in and follow up on some of the hacks. Looks like a close fight in the area as Venetus with a good pile driver onto Guard. Lootboxers are down 1, which is not ideal. There goes Julian G, so down 2. This will maybe be the break that XL2 C needs. If they can get forward spawn with this push, it'll look pretty well for them.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think those swaps to Sombra and Tracer, they're really adapting a full dive, trying to shut down the Lootboxers backline and then regroup before anything.
We see a lot of ults come on for the side of XL2C. Arrow still hasn't dropped the beat yet. Hasn't really needed to, but still though, as Julian G falls dangerously low, Lootboxers are getting sort of feeling the pressure as the bot nears forward spawn, and there's the Nano Blade onto Ocelot. Another great leap from Zazo. Ocelot gets anti, and it's just required to deflect. Nano onto Venetus. Says XL2C, we are not out of this yet. Arrow is able to take out Zazo and has to deal with this 1v1 with Kazi. If XL2C wants to take the bot, you know, a lot of people may think that play was pretty bad, but picking off the Ana and taking control of the bot was just actually a really, really good play. There's forward spawn, and the bot will take a small break, which could be make or break for XL2C.
Man.
A nice hack and a collapse onto Julian G is able to make this fight a 4v5, favored on the side of XL2C. Julian G is back as the bot nears 84, 85 meters. An anti comes in, and there's the Brig ult. There's the beat unable to catch Julian, and Arrow is right now just gonna try and take that bot away as far as possible, to try and buy some time as guard falls, and Ocelot is the only member alive for Lootboxers. It looked like a good comeback for the side of XL2. Now we see an EMP coming up, but how many will it get? A lot of Lootboxers aren't really that grouped up. There goes the minefield, and yeah, that's sort of what you're looking for from your Sombra, to just EMP the minefield, basically completely deny all that value. Guard pops the overclock, but it doesn't really get much as Ocelot caught too far in, met by a shield from Giggle Bash, and this is looking quite well. Guard is power drive up, Boingson with a follow-up, able to take him down. XL2C only looking at Nano here, but Nano Blade coming up from the side of Lootboxers. XL2C really needs that forward, really needs the lead. That could be anything. There's the Blade from Ocelot as Giggle Bash falls. Ocelot able to pick off Zazo. Kazi taking Julian G. It's not over. It's not over for XL2C. We will see how this goes. They just need to find a target and pick somebody off. Virus comes on the guard, forcing the recall, and Ocelot gets very low as he gets hacked. There's Ocelot fallen. It's not looking too good for XL2C though, as their spawns are really, really far away. They're just going to need a touch for overtime. .3 meters away from the win, and this isn't looking too well. Nano comes out onto the side, onto Boingson. There's the Boostio, as we're seeing a lot of traded damage. It looks like XL2C is going to come on top, taking out Dream Sweet, taking out Ocelot. Guard falls very low. Arrow very low with the almost Ajax beat. It allows Guard to take out Zazo. This does not look too bad. There's mines onto bot. It'll catch out Julian G. They just need to not C9 as Kazi is able to hop back on the point. It looks like Venture to touch, as this isn't looking too well for Lootboxers. they don't have many ults, maybe just the ball, and we're seeing a lot of ults from the side of XL2C. Bowingston is able to pick off Ocelot, and there's the hack. Bowingston with a nice pulse bomb, killing Julian G as well. And there you go. That'll get XL2C a map 2 win, or map 3 win.
I mean, the swaps were dangerous, in my opinion, for XL2C.
Yeah, the swap on that Sombra.
Yeah.
The Sombra did a lot. That Tracer was also just that speed that they need. It allowed them to sort of deny a lot of that value that Julian got on ball. Julian sort of had not that many targets after chasing Sombra and Tracer around the entire map.
Yeah. But that is going to now give XL2C an advantage, taking that 2-1 victory, or taking that 2-1 lead against the Lootboxers. We are now going to be going to Flashpoint, only 2 maps in the pool, leaving Lootboxers with the map pick, and we will see where we go.
Flashpoint is interesting for ball comps. We like to see a brawly Mago or Diva on those comps, but we'll have to see what Lootboxers and XL2C pull out of their bag of tricks. We have a swap. Squid X Storm is going to be playing tank in place of Julian G. I don't think we've seen a lot of Squid on tank here. We'll have to see how this goes for him.
I will say, in the limited experience that I have with seeing Squid on tank, I do see a lot of Winston, but that was last season, and this is season 2. Whole new Lootboxers line, whole new Lootboxers team, and I am most certainly certain that how redundant.
Yeah.
We will be looking to see if the evolution of Squid's tank gameplay, I'm sure, is there, and we will be waiting to see if we get something other than a Winston. I'm sure we will, but
Yeah, a Mauga on Suravasa, maybe even a Hazard. Both of them are pretty well, both on this map and into the ball. Junker Queen too. Suravasa is pretty flexible with the amount of the type of tank you can play. So it could be anything here. It could be anybody's map.
we're waiting as I'm getting another message here from Pipes. Maybe making some roster swaps.
Possibly.
Alrighty, and the map has been selected. If we hadn't said that already, we will be heading to Saravasa, just waiting for XL2's ready confirmation, and we will be getting things underway in just a moment. So with Saravasa, and there's going to be that ready. With Saravasa, what do you expect to see from these teams now seeing that roster swap or that tank swap for Lootboxers?
You mentioned seeing Monkey from Squid. I wasn't here for last season, so I may not know as much as you do, but
Initiating
if Squid can pull out a decent Malgar, a decent brawl, the loot boxers could possibly be able to just brute force their way through this ball comp that they assume XL2 is going to play.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, I know we're not doing perks until next round, but Malga is still strong, and it looks like we will indeed be seeing a Malga.
All right, and I actually like this pick from Venitus, little cheeky Ramatra, just to catch the loot boxers off guard, possibly. Kazi and Boingson, Torb, Sombra. Maybe they're just a little scarred from Julian, or something,
initial
but we are going to see a heavy brawl from the loot boxers here as the game starts. Light poking comes through as XL2 sort of sets up on the point, sets up with the advantage on point. Squid charges through and tries to collapse onto Venitus. Venitus popping the Nemesis form, a lot of damage onto him as he comes out of Nemesis form, losing that armor, losing that damage reduction, and forced to draw back. The point flip goes to XL2, but Kazi is able to be sort of picked off as XL2, Boingson specifically, is able to take out Dream Suite, and Boingson also taking out Arrow, that Sombra being a menace onto the backline, which is a good fight into XL2's favor. Because of the lack of supports, Squidstorm falls down, Ocelot able to teleport in, pick out Boingson, and Wraith out, which will be good if the loot boxers can go fast onto this, but we will have to see. The point starts ticking very fast in Flashpoint, and already at 90% as the loot boxers round their way up close. Squid wants to touch, but gets met with an EMP, just sort of pushes him back, gets him very low, and the loot boxers are forced to just sort of walk on and hopefully either stagger or run back and give it up.
next flashpoint Palace.
Let's not buy the pig while it's still in the bag. Turret in position.
And that number one target it is as Brig gets stomped but nanoed. There's the Brig ultimate and a lot of Qs on every team here, which will end up in the favor of XL2C. I just think that Annihilation plus Brig ult and Nano was just a little too much for loot boxers to do, as they saw Brig get nanoed and they're like, okay, we need to look for somebody else, which just was, it just didn't work out for them, unfortunately. and a molten core straight down onto the contents of the cage. It might have been just a slight overstep by Kazi as he gets picked off, and this is, you know, a pretty decent win for Lootboxers. That's really only one ult that they had to win this fight with, and they traded it out with another. XL2 C not looking too good in the ult department. They kind of had to dry fight that and try to force out as many ults as possible, but still they have 66% on the board. Sombra is going to be forcing point and requiring a little bit of focus, as there goes the rush onto XL2C's backline. Giggle Bash is going to be caught out. Venetus getting very low just from that Malga. Boeing as well. Going to drop quite low. Invis running away, but Squid was able to get a nice stomp onto both, and this is going to look very close to just being a point two going for the side of the Lootboxers.
Thanks for patching me up.
Flashpoint garden.
If XL2C is able to poke out and get a pick before the fight starts or before they Lootboxers engage, then the signal will work. But there's the overclock from Guard and an EMP to match. Dream Suite drops the Orbital Ray as XL2C take the safe route and sort of just disengage. The point hasn't unlocked just yet, and after it's unlocked, XL2C is kind of forced to walk back a little bit. Squid X Storm with a jump and a complete focus nano onto Boeingson as Ocelot and Guard fall down very, very low. First point will go to the Lootboxers, but it looks like XL2C will be the victors of this fight. A good stall and disengage from Lootboxers as Ocelot kind of, I think, was looking for that Blossom, but does not end up doing it. Squid able to drop the Malga ultimate, but it catches a lot. Yeah, just put the Blossom in the cage. It's pretty self-explanatory. Squid felt very low during that time. Here comes another ult fight as there's the Sigma ult onto Guard, and Squid gets them low, but there's not really follow-up as the Lootboxers are able to do a lot of damage and sort of just ignore the Sigma as it is. We see what looks like to be 0.3. Yeah, there's going to be no touch from XL2C. It's just going to be 0.3, and XL2C will just go next. With this Sigma, they're going to want to play far away. They're going to want to get to point first and poke, maybe save the rock for high priority targets. Both DPS swapping for XL2C as we're seeing Stoge, Symmetra. Both teams kind of scared to take point control because they're going to need to be poked out. There's the run in from Squid as the Ray comes through. Zazo jumps off the map, just does not want to be there. As yeah, that's a quick fight win. One ult used, not too bad. Looking pretty good for the Lootboxers.
The fight's coming to us.
Quite possibly. We'll see how we'll see how it goes out as the anti comes through. Squid jumps in, and there's the nano onto Bowingston. Super high charge, just burns through Squid. As now XL2 C, they need to move fast and they need to get picks fast. Kazi going down due to good focus from Arrow. That's a great nade from Zazo, as 67 on the board for Lootboxers. But you know, XL2C, you gotta be kinda happy with how this is going. You're gonna need to prepare for the Blossom Cage. It's very simple but very effective. We might see this sim wall to try and stop the Blossom Cage. We'll see have to. Okay, sim wall comes out first, and they just say, "Let's play back and let's poke." This allows them to stall for some good time progress, and maybe hopefully get Venetus a pick on the back line. He goes in, falls quite low, but doesn't die. There's the overclock from Guard as the wall sort of fades down. Squidstorm just runs through, and there's overclock from Kazi, able to pick off Arrow. A great shot. Both overclocks sort of fall down as the cage goes down. It looks like it's just Venetus in there. It might be a high target, but that's going to mean Squid just won't be able to live against all of this pressure. Bowingston has that Symmetra, even with lower charge. It's a lot to deal with. That's 0.4, and it's 2-2 right now.
Next flashpoint ruins.
Ooh. A possible fat finger from Ocelot as the Death Blossom comes out from the spawn room. Oh, a Squid with a great stomp onto the back line. And there's the rush from Arrow. Not looking... It probably was not needed because they were able to move up two. Probably they were just like, we're using rush here no matter what. And after they got two, they decided they just wanted to keep it. So not too bad. We see Venetus on the ball in the background, and there's the nano onto Symmetra. Venetus able to sort of knock Lootboxers away, but that nano's gonna wear off, and here comes the strong wall, as it looks like it's going to give point for XL2. There's the orbital and a Brigalt to match it, but it just sort of gets burned straight through, as that point cap was kind of short-lived. Then it just wanted a contest. It just was unable to get it. This isn't looking too good for either, or too bad for either teams. Squid was able to pick off Kazi, which this is a way to just slow down the push. Yeah, Squid with a nice run on the Giggle Bash. Since Zazo was still respawning, there was no heal. There's the mines onto point. Nobody really to stop Venetus from doing this cap. Lootboxers, yeah, they just decide they don't even want to deal with it. And both supports are corralled into the corner. There's Guard with the overclock, and it's just not enough. Venetus, he did need to back cap, but he also needed to peel. It's just a lot that he needed to get done, and was slightly unable to do so. Bowingston not able to get the touch, and that is round 4 going to Lootboxers. Map 4.
Very nicely played, I think, by the Lootboxers for sure.
Play of the game.
They realized that that ball comp was sort of getting countered by just about everybody. So they decided, let's bring the Malga. And I think that was probably why they decided to choose Suravasa, just because Malga works pretty nicely there. And yeah, 2-2. It's looking very close.
Yeah, yeah. And we will now be going, so it is going to default to hybrid as we did start, well, in round 2 we did have escort, so it'll be interesting to see the selections here by Lootboxers and XL2 C.
Lootboxers have this ban onto the next map for hybrid. We might look at a okay, we're looking at Blizzard World ban. Maybe we'll see Midtown coming from the side of XL2C. Venatus liked that Ramatra and Sig. I didn't hate it in my opinion. And Midtown, it's kind of difficult to run the Mauga. So like also possibly King's Row. I think Icon will not be picked. That's just my guess. But I will gladly be proven wrong because Eichenwald is quite a ball map. So maybe we'll see the Venatus versus Julian one more time, possibly.
Mayhaps. I would like to also point out that so Blizzard World has been banned by Lootboxers. I think Squid kind of taking that captain role. I had, I'll say, a pseudo interview with Squid, and Squid talked about a little bit his leadership role in that calming. So if nothing else, maybe that swap was just to enable the team and to increase comms or something like that, and less about the actual composition that they're running. But I'm grasping at straws here. I'm not sure that that's the answer. That's just a guess.
Hey, I mean, it could be definitely true. A strong IGL is needed, which is mostly what the tank would have to do. And when you're calming with ball, you've got a lot to think about getting the right tech and knowing exactly what to do at the right time. So maybe with Squid in, the comm boost is just what they need.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. Increasing target focus, knowing where you want to go, the direction, the pacing. I mean, everything boils down to comms, and if those aren't solid, that can prove to be problematic, and definitely something Lootboxers don't want to have to worry about are those comms.
Agreed. We will have to see what XL2 has in store for us.
And looks like we're gonna be going to Scrims Row anyway.
All right. That's not too bad. If Venatus is comfortable on sort of brawl, you can play Sigma, but I think in OWCS we saw a lot of Diva playing on King's Row, just able to take over on the high ground, able to sort of mess around and be a lot of places at once. So we will have to see.
And the last selection to be made will be by the Lootboxers, selecting whether or not they will be playing offense or defense first.
The Lootboxers could have the surprise factor on offense, but
Looks like
say
they-
that and they opt to take defense. Not too bad. I think defense is the safer pick. It sort of allows a little bit of scouting on what XL2C wants to have done, and it allows for just if they full hold, all they need is one tick, and they take the win.
Yeah, I would agree with you in that analysis, being that defense will be the safer pick. Yeah, I think that's a smart decision on the side of the loot boxers.
All right.
Alrighty, and getting the ready confirmation from the teams, and we will be getting things underway. I was about to make a comment about Squid playing Widowmaker, but had a brief mental lapse there, as we will be seeing Squid on tank and not DPS.
Right. We'll see what Squid has to offer here. The Malga was played pretty well. However, I don't know if we're going to play Malga on Kings. Kings has some impressive sight lines, and
Match.
we might see sort of May being played. Is what I would try and opt for if I was loot boxers.
Ready for battle.
Well, we are seeing familiar comp from loot boxers, the same Suravasa comp. How will it work on this King's Row? We will have to see. With a Reaper and a Malga, Bowingson might have some good luck on the Widowmaker, as we are being showed.
Hoping to get some early picks and maybe swap.
4, 3,
Possibly, but against this slow, I suppose, team comp, we will have to see. There's the sleep onto Arrow, as a really quick engage, an anti forces Squid Storm to just back up. Bowingson walking out with this Widowmaker. The sightlines are pretty big because it allows XL2 C to wrap around high ground and take sort of this good angle against loot boxers. Venetus dropping onto the ground, which is going to trigger Squid to engage. Giggle Bash falls from the pressure, but so does Squid and Ocelot. Guard with a nice shot onto Bowingston is going to even out the fight, but a nice, great rock from Venetus onto Arrow. This looks like a good first point victory for XL2.
Just a little over 5 minutes with that fairly quick cap that we got from XL2C.
And some roster or hero changes, I shall say. Squid going to the Ramatra, and Ocelot on the May, Boeing on the Vara. It's a quite interesting comp. Oh, we also see Kazi on the Symmetra, and we will have to see how this does for either team. Boeingson getting a lot of damage just on this backline here. There goes the nano onto Kazi. Kazi is high charge, burning down Squidstorm as he falls dangerously low, but is able to just keep up and live.
Some solid sustain from the Lootboxers support. Even guard getting dangerously low, but staying up.
With that Mei, this might be pretty difficult. Just doesn't have that much damage. Nano goes out onto Squidstorm and punches through a lot. There's the Ramattra ultimate as Giggle Bash would be caught directly in that. The Pharah ult from Boeingson will pick it off guard, but it won't take anything else. Venatus, a little bit ambitious with the Sigma ultimate, but it just won't come out too well for them.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think that's one of those ults that you do right as you're about to swap, and we do see a ram pick from Venatus here.
I love me a good old ram mirror. With the Mei from Ocelot, it might be pretty difficult for Venatus to do a lot of work. He'll have to play safe and sort of poke against this comp. Both this comes the orbital ray from Arrow as a big brawl comes out. Wall onto Venatus, drops him very low and singles them out. XL2, they can sort of just play safe here, try not to get picked, and live. It's not the worst team fight loss because they didn't invest any ultimates, and they're sort of just draining those ultimates from the Lootboxers.
Yeah. I like the positioning that Dream Suite and Guard are kind of taking here, but definitely getting pressured by XL2, at least momentarily.
A nice anti-nade from the duo up top as Guard and Dream Suite come fight the backline. But that just allows XL2 to just sort of walk. Giggle Bash drops the pops the rally, but Ocelot matches with a blizzard of their own, and it's just Kazi alive and Boeingson as well to deal a lot of damage. You know, Lootboxers were pretty low there. If Kazi was able to do a little bit more damage, Boeingson was able to get maybe a couple shots on, it could have been pretty nicely even.
Yeah. Already getting now under 2 minutes, still a little more than halfway to push.
Thanks for the help.
XL2 opts to go that high ground because of the pressure that was being delivered onto them from the back. It looks like they might teleport down.
Yeah.
Kazi looking for a good TP, but just not able to get it, I suppose, as Zazo hits a beautiful sleep onto Squid. And XL2 is able to sort of just run it down this top left area. They take the TP, and both overclocks are popped. Boeington able to get a really, really quick peek. There's a nano onto Boeington as XL2 C is fighting a 5v4 right now. Squid pops the Nemesis form, able to pick off Zazo, and it looks like Giggle Bash is just sort of sitting on the payload. There's the annihilation from Squid. It doesn't get much, but it provides a lot of space for his team. Squid falls very low. There's the Nemesis from Venatus as Arrow pops another orbital ray. It's just too much, that orbital ray, and even with the Nemesis form and the arms that you can block, it's just too much.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough ask, and here we are again, and maybe with the clock in consideration, comfort pick again for Venatus, trying just to get to the payload.
2 seconds to touch,
Yeah.
as somebody will have to. That's Boeington on there, and Giggle Bash coming, but Squidic Storm gets that nano and is able to just maul the backline entirely, taking down 3, and there's the freeze from Ocelot. The ult economy was just not looking too good for XL2. and it's just Bowingson to touch,
Man.
and overtime ticks down. That's round one with a pretty well done hold from the set of loot
Yeah.
boxers.
Very, very nicely done. Not getting that full cap that they wanted, but able to come away with, or sorry, a full hold that they wanted, but able to come away with a very solid defense. Not a ton of progress on the payload, but they are going to have to unlock checkpoint and exceed that in order to come away with this map and the match against XL2C.
We will have to see how this goes down, what XL2C is going to do differently in order to win this. Looks like we're seeing Bowingson on the Hanzo and Kazi on the Junkrat. They might be going for a little spam, a little bit of a comfort spam pick just to try and overwhelm the loot boxers, but they don't fall that easily. At least I don't think so. They're gonna need a really good plan for this start.
Yeah, a lot of damage output, I'll say, in short bursts from Boeing Sun on Hanzo, but the loot boxers maybe just wanting to use that speed ring and walk right on them.
And here it starts. Ocelot is walling off nobody, but it's able to get the loot boxers up to the high ground as XL2, they opt to play lower here. Some poke damage from Kazi and Bowingson as the loot boxers decide to force point, forcing Venesis to drop and use that Nemesis one there to match that. Giggle Bash falling to guards, Dynamite, and that wall unable to keep Venesis up, and it looks like it'll be pretty good for the side of loot boxers. This Junkrat and Hanzo damage is going to drop Squid low, but with a nice, well-placed Vortex, it's looking pretty good for the loot boxers.
And with about
Similar
the same,
attack.
yeah. Go ahead. You're saying what I'm saying.
About the same time, Bank. This is still anybody's match. We are seeing a great play from Dream Sweet Guard, killing Kazi up top, as Kazi maybe a little bit too far extended, and has forced the XL2 to fight a 4v5 right now. Venetus popping that Nemesis form, trying to block, but it will fall to Ocelot's Blizzard, and this Mei Ramatra is sort of just walking over people. Giggle Bash is going to be stuck like in the wrong position here, unfortunately, as the payload comes very, very close. Kazi to touch. Kazi dies, and Zazo unable to get it. That is a quick map 5 and a 3-2 victory from the loot boxers.
Play of the game.
And a solid win for the loot boxers. Definitely a lot longer match than what we were in for based off of that first control map, but some roster swaps made for XL2C, and that is going to be all she wrote as we are getting things ready and prepared for the upcoming matches to finalize round 5 and get things started for stage 2. Definitely I wasn't sure at first who was going to come out on top, but again, I think just defaulting back to that I'll say commanding presence there from Squidstorm on the loot boxers, able to come away with it, secure those last 2 maps. Not quite a reverse sweep as loot boxers did win the first one, but able to come away with it nonetheless. Very well played by both teams, and that is all that she wrote for this match. Loot boxers winning 3-2. Now, tomorrow we will not have a match because that match was played actually last week sometime. So on Tuesday, we will see Munchkins going up against XL2B. That is going to be at 9 p.m. EST, and then another match Thursday at 8 p.m. EST between the Wyoming Pistols and Wyoming Steamboat. So I don't know if that's a grudge match or a fun match or what that is, but that'll be a match to see nonetheless. But that is all she wrote for tonight's stream. Ray, thank you for hopping in, and we will be back at you later this week.